Okay, June the 11th, Sunday evening, just before the weekly close. Let's do the market outlook and plans for the week ahead. So let's go ahead and start off with the news events. So this week on Tuesday, we have the CPI, and then on Wednesday, we have the FOMC. There's a couple other things to point out, like Fed speak on Friday and unemployment on Thursday, but none of these things are really going to hold the weight that the CPI on Tuesday and the FOMC on Wednesday are going to hold. So definitely want to be careful around carrying positions into these events. They should be producing some volatility. So I'm going to be trying to exploit that myself. My plan for the week is definitely to be doing the majority of my trading for the week on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then probably a bit slower on Thursday, Friday. I don't have any stats to back this up, but something that I've just been noticing with my own trading is that generally most of the actionable moves for the week are playing out in the first half of the week, and then the second half of the week tends to be a bit of a dud for me. I don't know if anybody else is noticing that. But I'm going to lean into that with the expectation that most of my trading will be taking place in the beginning of the week. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into benchmarks. Let's cover boomer markets first. So let's start off with the NAS. So this has been the absolute hero from all the markets, just dragging everything up with it. So simply put, the NAS is definitely trading overextended at this standpoint. We're trading into pretty heavy resistance, and we haven't really had any meaningful pullbacks since the initial drive from the quarterly. So at this point, I would not recommend shorting it at all. I think that shorting the strongest asset is absolute foolishness. However, I would not be super long biased on it anymore, especially with how weak crypto is right now. I'm definitely getting the vibe that equities, it's time for them to cool down. So the simple way to play it is when we inevitably get either, the two ways it kind of plays out are either the most bullish scenario where there's so much demand and so much buying pressure that instead of it trading down, it just compresses sideways. Very possible that it just hugs this HVN. And by the time, this compresses out, the quarterly catches up, and then we trade up again. That's the most bullish scenario. This is definitely a possibility. The other one is, that we actually do leave this range and kind of pull back, find support around the quarterly and trade up again. So the TLDR on the boomer markets is that they are trading overextended right now, but I would not want to short them. I would simply want to be patient, sit on my hands, and buy the dip. So that is my expectation. Let's go ahead and cover the S&P lightly. Same scenario with the S&P. S&P is a lot more healthy right now just because it's not overextended the way the NAS is. The NAS let everything up, and the S&P has followed. S&P has pretty healthy structuring right now, so it could probably trade up a little bit more. But like we talked about for a while, trading into the 43.5 region is clearly FTA. So we expect some headwinds to be met for these indexes up here. So the TLDR is shorting these things is foolishness in my opinion. I simply, plan to sit on my hands and buy the dip. That's a good segue for me to go ahead and introduce the idea that I'm going to be trading these markets actively again. I haven't really traded the NAS or the S&P much since 2020, so it's been several years now, or a couple years at least. But with how boring crypto's been recently, I'm going to go ahead and work these into my rotation for the markets that I'm scanning. I'm not super interested in really trading anything other than the mini NAS and the mini ES. So there should be some content around that. And that will probably mean that my trade theses and my plans that I give you guys will be a little bit more precise. Most of the boomer stuff that I cover is pretty abstract, where I kind of talk about regions, and rather than specific, line in the sand and stuff. So I think that everything is going to get a little bit more tuned for you guys. So if you guys do appreciate the boomer analysis that I'm doing, it's probably going to get a lot better over the next few months. So keep an eye out for that. That's it for the boomer stuff. Let's go ahead and get into the crypto. So it's been pretty rough for us, definitely. Let's cover Bitcoin, and then we have a lot to cover on altcoin stuff as well. So the gist on Bitcoin is that we're in a tough situation right now, where we're absolutely in my buy the dip zone. So from a technical standpoint, I should be just full aping, and I did go ahead and put on some risk, which I'll cover in the positioning section later. But I'm not eager to really extend my risk, to be honest. And basically, the vibe that I'm getting right now is that crypto's been ridiculously weak and had no real reason to not get dragged up by equities. So the fact that our benchmarks have traded down and are still in medium-term downtrends does not bode well for crypto when we realize what's happening with altcoins right now. Altcoins getting hit with the securities BS. has, obviously, if you look at any altcoin, they're pretty much all absolutely in the gutter. A lot of them traded down anywhere from, 20 to 40%, even 50% over the past few days. So there's a lot of fear around the securities charges. And, basically how the beginning of this week starts is going to be really key for me. I'll fixate on this more when we get to the little time frame stuff, but I want to cover this lightly now. If altcoins continue to trade down, in my opinion, it's basically inevitable that our benchmarks will get dragged down too. So when we compare the betas between, Bitcoin and ETH versus all the altcoins are trading at extreme beta compared to normal. They're all trading down heavy double digits, and Bitcoin and ETH barely traded down at all from this news. So, my gut feeling is that we're kind of at the bid zone for the benchmarks. So we could theoretically trade up from here. But it's very worrying the fact that altcoins are so weak, and I feel very confident that if altcoins continue to trade down, the benchmarks are going to trade down too. So we're in a key sticky zone for me where I want to be light on my feet. I'm very neutral right now with how I'm viewing the market, because if we start to trade up, I'm not going to hesitate to jump on a potential uptrend. So I know that when we're at these periods, right, where things seem at their worst, sentiment is terrible right now. People are actually starting to realize that maybe they should give up. These can be the key points where you want to actually be a buyer. So I don't want to be a bulltard by any means and say, be buying into weakness, because the market's super weak and it's rough to want to buy a weak market. But I am very, prepared to quickly pivot back to being bullish again. Just because the technical thesis is not invalidated in any way. Really, the only thing that's holding me back from fully eating in this range is just that my gut tells me that what's happening with altcoins is not going to bode well for Bitcoin and ETH. So let's go ahead and, basically cover that. So like I had said for many months now, right, this was the key region we were looking to bid. The low volume node overlapping with current year's VWAP, overlapping with last year's VWAP, right? The overlaps here were extreme. So this was the bit, zone we wanted to buy, and we're here now. So I did go ahead and buy some because this was the region where I wanted to buy more spot Bitcoin. From a positioning standpoint, I'm still hedged on the majority of my Bitcoin. So all the fresh Bitcoin that I've bought down in this region is not hedged, but I'm still mostly flat on Bitcoin. We're in by the dip zone, but the immediate trend is still super bearish. So I'm going to be I'd rather be a tiny bit late rather than be early. So I'm not going to be the hero on this one. I have a little bit of an allocation so that I don't feel like a total asshole if my plan works out. And when you wait 3 months for a plan and it comes and you don't follow it and it works, you're going to really feel bad about yourself. So I had to buy at least some. So definitely bought into some of the fear this weekend from a spot standpoint on the corn. But that's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else on the higher time frame to cover. Let's get into some lower time frame talk. So basically what I'm looking at on the lower time frame is we had this, value built up throughout, most of May. So 3 weeks of May and, a week into June. So, call it a month-long composite basically. And we've clearly, rejected from that. So the immediate picture on the lower time frame in the corn is pretty bearish. We have... we're still bullish on the yearly, but the quarterly is bearish and the monthly are bearish. So with us breaking down from this, I want to be flat-footed where I don't really want to be super. I definitely want to lean neutral, guys, because where we're at is the macro bid zone. I don't want to be super bearish with my positioning and stuff. And like I said, with the FOMC and the CPI coming in at the beginning of this week, I'm just going to really try to lean into that volatility. Hopefully we get some good vol, and that's mainly my plan for the week. So that pretty much covers it for the corn. The immediate picture on the lower time frame is still super bearish, but we're in a macro bid zone, so feeling very neutral right now. That's pretty much covers it for all the benchmark stuff. For more information, check out the Paragon group with the link below, where I cover everything from how I trade to how you can develop your own style. Let's get into the real cesspit with the altcoins. So we'll start off on a positive note. There are 2 altcoins that are actually still looking good. That's going to be unironically XRP. Somehow Ripple has really held strong during this period of all this altcoin fear. I think one of the large reasons is that Ripple somehow hasn't popped up on any of these lists of coins that are getting, that are considered by the SEC to be securities. So if Ripple is able to avoid that charge, it's kind of a meme for Ripple to go up after that fact. So I haven't really played Ripple at all. I know that Charlie has, but I've been keeping a close eye on it. And, since it's showing strength when pretty much every other altcoin looks like absolute hot garbage, I'm going to keep a close eye on it. The only other coin that I really like right now structurally is Tomo. The trend structuring, as I've rambled about Tomo so many times, you guys are probably tired of hearing me talk about it. The trend structuring has been so clean and orderly. The only thing is that, on the lower time frame, it's starting to almost look distributive up here. So, the $1 region was super strong resistance that got flipped recently. The VWAP structuring is all super bullish still. So, from the trend standpoint, I want to play trend continuation on anything that looks like this still. But I am getting some slight signs of distribution over here. So it is always possible that something like Tomo is just lagging to the downside. Where, maybe the argument is just like the sellers haven't really stepped in, where the sellers really stepped in on all the other shit coins. Who knows? But that's basically my thoughts for, if I'm going to get bullish at all this week, looking to things like Ripple and Tomo to juice up that bullish play are pretty obvious. That's pretty much it for altcoins. So it's basically just Ripple and Tomo, and then potentially Litecoin. Every other altcoin, they're structuring. I'm not going to spend time running through them. You can do it on your own. If you look at higher time frame VWAP structuring on all of them, with the yearly and the quarterly and stuff, they all look horrible. They're all in complete downtrends on basically every VWAP. So there's really no reason to be bullish on any of them. And you guys know me. I don't really like shorting altcoins that much. It's just not really my style. So I'd rather just wait to watch altcoin just go to zero. And I don't really need to profit from that. It's not my style as much. So that's pretty much it for the watch list. It's this is the weakest watch list I've ever had in throughout 2023. It is what it is. My main plan for altcoins, and this is going to tie in bigly on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with the expected vol. I'm going to be doing a lot of altcoin scalping this week, which hopefully I can get some good VODs to do some edits and share some lessons around. But yeah, that's basically my main plan for the week, is that I'm going to be doing some altcoin scalping. I'm just hoping that there's enough vol on like Tuesday and Wednesday to produce some good trades. So that's pretty much it for altcoin stuff. So that's pretty much it for the week, guys. TLDR is I'm pretty neutral with how I'm going to be trading, and leaning into whatever is a high, I'm just going to be searching for whatever's a high tick altcoin, and I'm going to be scalping that with a combination of, my simple VWAP open interest trading view chart with a simple footprint, probably just a classic TREV, 120 TREV, depending on the volatility. So that's pretty much it for the week, boys. Everybody, good luck out there. And we'll talk soon. Cheers.